Konoha Village is being invaded by ice-wielding owl ninjas, so Boruto jumps into the mystery machine with Scooby and the gang to solve another mystery. While I felt that last week's episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations was kind of a bummer, it's at least leading into a surprisingly intriguing story with the introduction of the Byakuya gang, which are these Robin Hood-esque characters who steal from the rich and give to the poor, and they do so with ninja skills. There's an introduction of a new character in this episode who wields this cloak which makes them look like half human, half owl, and it makes them all awesome. I absolutely loved the design of this brand new character. I would say their name, but they haven't been formally introduced into the series quite yet. So for now, I'm simply just going to refer to that character as the Owl Ninja, and it's actually this young boy with pink hair who actually ends up developing a pretty strong relationship with Shikadai in this episode, the son of Shikamaru. So there's going to be this whole subplot where Shikamaru's son is going to be connected to this group, which is also involved with these big robberies, and it all ends up messing with Boruto's head. So basically what I'm trying to say is this is the beginning of a surprisingly good arc, which is actually going to give a little more characterization to Boruto and letting him know that not everything is going to be simply black and white. Even though someone might be doing something bad, they might actually be doing it for the benefit of other people. And therein lies a lot of the drama of this brand new arc right here, but more, I'm just interested in learning about these brand new characters like this Owl Ninja and the leader of this group who has this really distinctive design with a mohawk. I will say, a lot of the times when they introduce these anime originally only characters, they're really boring, they have really uninspired character designs, but I'm really loving everything that they're bringing to the table on this one. That and that we got a pretty unique fight scene in this episode as well, which is not so much a fight scene as it is ninjas just trying to trick each other with their unique abilities, which at the end of the day is one of the cornerstones of the entire Naruto franchise, and it's well alive in this episode of Boruto right here. But what's this episode really all about? Well, it's really about Boruto and his friends who are trying to solve the mystery of how all of this money got stolen from this vault. Even though they were able to talk this guy out of blowing himself up at the end of last week's episode, these guys were still able to make their way inside this vault, steal all the dough and the diamonds, and they're going to sell it on the black market. And they're doing that so that they can help out the poor, the people who've been looked down on by the rich, and still I feel there is some sort of ulterior motive for the higher-ups of this group, and that they're really doing something shady behind the scenes under the guise of this weird Robin Hood-styled rebellion that they're putting on. But that's probably going to be revealed a couple episodes from now. I'm glad that this one seems like it's actually going to be going on for a little while longer. We needed a good, meaty adventure before we moved on to the Chunin exams, and I think this is honestly going to be the one to do it. And the fact that they're going to be able to involve other characters like Shikadai and maybe even his team, I think that's going to be one of the coolest things about this one right here. But what's most interesting about this robbery is how in Konoha Village, the bank vaults are actually at this certain temperature. They're like really freezing. There's ice all over the walls, and if the temperature changes even just a little bit, the alarm is going to go off. And Sarada notices that outside of the vault is this flower, which is covered in ice, which leads her to believe that there is a ninja who can use ice abilities, and he had to use them right before he walked in, hence why a small portion of the outside was covered in ice. And of course she is right. They get a little bit of advice from Professor Katasuke, who, if you don't like this character, get ready to see him a lot. He's going to be very important, not only in the Boruto movie adaptation arc, but also in a few important ones later on in the series. So get ready to see in this guy. He's basically Japanese Steve Urkel. Is Steve Urkel, like, dated now? I guess it is. It makes me feel old when I have to say that. Basically, he's just a big otaku nerd who creates a lot of crazy ninja weapons. That's really all there is to his character. He's eccentric, he's over the top, he's Robin Williams from Flubber. Just, yeah, that's basically it. So, this is when Boruto and his team decide to go off on their own to try and solve this mystery, because why tell the adults? It never works out anyway. Let's just go off and go on our own fun adventure. And they come up with this plan where they're going to do an exchange. They go to this, like, underground hidden part of Konoha Village, and they learn that a deal is going to go down between the diamond thief and with the money that they have, and they meet the Owl Ninja outside the skirts of town. They start to throw the items at each other. It's actually Sarada in disguise. She jumps down, pins the Owl Ninja down, and it's actually someone else who's been forcibly put into a disguise of things which are filled with all sorts of massive explosions. The real ninja has been watching the entire time. They make off with all of the dough, and that's basically it right there. They meet with their leader, and that's basically the end of the episode. There is a whole nother subplot about Shikadai and meeting this young ninja who is a part of the Byakuya gang, and they have a lot in common because they both play shogi with one another. It's interesting that they're introducing a character like this to associate with Shikadai. I also like that they're bringing shogi back. The legacy of Asuma and Shikaku lives on, so that's something that's really freaking awesome. I probably just completely butchered the name of Shikamaru's father right there. So, what's the rundown on this episode right here? There are so many little elements to this episode that really worked. This was a jam-packed episode in many senses, and I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. First, man, the kids in Konoha Village are straight up messed up. They were actually going to put an explosion tag on a frog and just chuck it over the side of a bridge. What little freakish sociopaths actually live in that village? Luckily, Shikadai was there to actually stop this kid from doing this. He ended up injuring his hand in the process, but, you know, things could have gone really worse for everyone there. This is also when that one owl ninja, when he's not in his costume, actually notices Shikadai for the first time and introduces himself. That's when they start playing shogi with one another. The whole subplot with Shikadai and shogi and everything, you know, it's in a way, it's sort of a reference to Shikamaru and his father and Asuma and all that stuff, and just showing that the next generation is also going to be learning this stuff as well. But it's also just to introduce us to another character who's going to be associated with the Byakuya gang, and that's going to add a lot of pretty good drama, I think, to this arc right here, especially where Shikamaru's allegiances are going to go, whether it means helping his friend or if it means going with Konoha Village on this one. And again, that's one of the themes that's really interesting about this episode right here. There's the scene where the owl guy runs away, and they decide to chase him, and they arrive at this village, which is at the top of these hills, and these people are just the most stereotypical peasant-type people you could see in any other show. They're downtrodden, and they have a broken pulley system which they use to bring water into their village, but it's completely busted. They don't have any money, so that's what this owl guy does. He provides them with the funds to get this thing fixed, and Boruto witnesses this firsthand. He realizes, yes, this guy did steal, but look at the good that he did for all of these people who now have a village which is now going to continue to flourish because they can have water. It was really difficult for him to get it before, despite the fact that it is literally right below their village. And they live in the world of ninja. Learn some chakra and start to run on some walls, people. It's just an excuse to justify the actions of this owl ninja character. And man, they got that thing fixed really fast. It's kind of ridiculous that it happened that fast, to be perfectly honest. But there it was, and it kind of messes with Boruto's head just a little bit. He's sort of just thinking to himself at the end of the episode, he's like, huh, maybe this really isn't so bad after all. Should I have been chasing that guy? It's implied by everyone around him that he's more upset that the guy ran away and he couldn't complete the mission, but no, you can tell that that actually got through to Boruto, and he's starting to actually think about this stuff just a little bit more. I think it's going to be really instrumental in him actually becoming a real big character at the end of this series and maturing, and hopefully it's a lesson that he'll be able to retain and not forget in like the span of 2 weeks, which he seems to do all the freaking time. Other than that, there are some minor details about this episode that I really liked. I like that we got to see more of Shikamaru and Temari at their family. I just wanted to see more of that family dynamic. And of course, Temari is exactly the way that you would expect her. She is very hardcore, by the books, and if you are late for dinner, she will just destroy you. Of course, this is the Naruto anime series, and if there's one thing I've learned from watching it, it's that the women in this show are pissed off, and they have no qualms with knocking you through a freaking wall like the freaking Kool-Aid Man. It's crazy, but it's also pretty funny in that anime slapsticky kind of way. Overall, I have to say that I'm actually kind of impressed with this story right here. It's not too often that these type of filler stories can actually get me involved, but the overall design of these characters, their motives, is a little different than something that we've seen from the series. Just, I'm excited to see what it's about. Also, it's cool to see more Ice Ninja in the show. We actually have not seen that many in the show when you actually think about it. I mean, the original Naruto anime and manga series opened up with the introduction of Haku, who had the Kekkei Genkai ability to use the ice, and then after that we had some movie villains that could use it, and aside from maybe a few other small instances in the entire series, we have not seen that many ice wielders. So to see one again, and someone who has the theme of an owl, I think is really clever and really cool, and it looks awesome. I'll say it again, though, they definitely remind me of the Court of Owls from the Batman comic book series, but still, I think they look great, and it's something unique, and even the cloak itself has, like, the design of feathers. It's just really cool. I really love this design quite a bit, I have to admit. So, there it is, another episode of Boruto, the one that's surprisingly exciting with a little bit of mystery behind it, as well as some really great character interactions, the introduction of some new villains for the show. Hopefully this story pans out into something really interesting and snowballs into something a little more important. Either way, I'm going to find myself glued to the screen every week. This was another pretty good episode of Boruto for the beginning of a surprisingly exciting arc. I'm giving this one right here a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Boruto fans, and make sure to tell me all of your thoughts about this episode right here and what you hope to see from the future of the anime series. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more anime reviews. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.